Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works. I'm your host, Mike Patton, and on this episode, we're going to talk to someone that has been working some more. Definitely dropping words everywhere you look. She is somewhere new, and that's Miss Jannelle Moore. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me. It's an honor
Yeah.
to be on.
Thank you for coming on. We're going to get into how you got started, growing up, all those different things. But before we get into that, with every show, we open up with the Black Girl Magic moment. And in this episode, since WNBA training camps, things like that are starting, I wanted to talk about Skylar Diggins-Smith. Now, Skylar Diggins-Smith left the Phoenix Mercury, and now she'll be playing for the Seattle Storm this year, of course, with the super team or so-called super team that they have formed. I think it's just a good basketball team that they got. But anyway, with the team that they have formed in Seattle, she's definitely on her way back. Of course, last year sat out, had a child. And she did mention in her press conference how she wasn't sure whether she was coming back or not, how she got back in shape. Somebody inspired her. I can't remember exactly the name on top of my head, but how she was kind of inspired to come back, by somebody's words, and lost weight, got into shape, and is back out on the court again. And I just want to commend her because, of course, no man can ever say they sat out, had a child, and was able to come back from that, let alone 2 kids and come back from that. So I got to commend her for being able to step back on the court, being able to have the passion to get back in shape and get back out on the court and show people that she can still get it done on the court. And I look forward to seeing how she does this year in the WNBA with all the young talent that's coming in as well. You got any thoughts, Jannelle?
I do. Skylar's ordeal has been, phenomenal. I think this is the second time going through a situation like this, working out and bouncing back right after pregnancy. And to be quite honest, the way that the Mercury did her was kind of dirty. If you've been following, what she has gone through with that team and how she was treated during her pregnancy, I'm excited to see her bounce back.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting to see, especially since she has some nice weapons beside her. So there's not a lot of pressure on her to be, top form at the start of the season. But of course, as the season goes on, I do expect her to kind of round into shape when it comes playoff time to take on the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberties and all those different teams out there. And of course, I'm pretty sure she's going to be hyped up to face Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all the young rookies, Rakia Jackson, all the young rookies that are going to be stepping on the court this year, which I'm looking forward to. Be honest, I'm looking forward to one rookie, and it's probably not the rookie that everyone thinks. I'm looking forward to Rakia Jackson because I think she was probably one of the most underrated players in college basketball. She's like 6'3", 6'4", can play the 3, can play the 4, can shoot the 3, the mid-range, post up, play defense at different positions as well. I mean, I just look forward to seeing her versatility and her ability being put on a big display at the next level.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody is sleeping on the Sparks. They're going to be fun. Jackson and Brink, that's going to be a fun squad. Very underrated so far, I would say, because all the attentions is on Caitlin and Angel Reese and Cardosa. That's going to be interesting to see.
Definitely is. I'm ready to see that one. I mean, I am a Sparks fan, so I am kind of a little biased there. But but yes, definitely, it's going to be fun to kind of watch them grow and blossom. But speaking of growing and blossoming, we got to talk about you and your youth, of course. Where did you grow up?
I'm a native of Old Fort, North Carolina. Old Fort is about 30 miles away from Asheville, right at the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in western North Carolina. Old
Okay,
Fort
okay.
is a small town. I would say about like maybe around 1,000, 2,000 people. I would say, and we had two black neighborhoods. I grew up on Baptist Side Road. The other
Hmm.
neighborhood is Cemetery Street. But, you know, even though we had two black neighborhoods, everybody tends to gravitate towards Baptist Side Road. That's where it was popping.
Okay.
And that's
All
where
right.
I grew up. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so how was it growing up in the town you described as a small town? How was it growing up there? Everybody know everybody, things like that.
Everybody know everybody all in your business, but but we didn't have crime, not crime. Um, it was a cool place to grow up. Even though you have to go 50 miles for stuff, it was cool.
Got you. You said 50 miles. What kind of stuff do you have to go 50 miles for? Like the grocery stores
No, no, no. I mean, like if you wanted something good to eat, you know what I
Mhm,
mean? Something decent, like if you want to go to Chili's, Asheville had that.
mhm.
Asheville had the mall. You get what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Not
Okay.
Asheville, probably Hickory, and that was an hour away. We have our basic needs, but if you want some nice stuff, you'll have to go way out of the way because with small towns, there's a little bit of people have regressive mindsets. Um, McDowell County is just now being considered as a wet county about like maybe about what, shoot, 5 years ago. Now we're getting
Okay.
bars, and now all of this nice stuff is coming in because you know the politicians decided to make the county wet.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, crazy thing is, I actually went to college in a dry county in Tennessee, which was
yeah,
Martin, Tennessee. And one of the things that came up, one of the bills that came up is liquor by the drink came up when I was in college. So people were coming on the campus trying to get people registered and talking about, hey, man, we need to get liquor by the drink on campus. So that was quite that when you said that about the county being a wet county, I knew
yeah,
exactly where you were going. So I was like, yeah, I experienced that in college.
yeah.
So what would you say, growing up there, what would you say that it's something that you wanted to be growing up, kind of just living around, looking at everybody, do their different things or whatever.
You know, I've always been ambitious as a kid. I started reading at 3 years old. While other kids
Hmm.
wanted candy and all that stuff, I wanted 50 cents for a newspaper. I don't know whether or not I remember reading the sports pages, but yeah, I was into reading. I read a lot. And the crazy thing about it is, at first, I didn't want to be in the media. At first, I wanted to be in law. I wanted to be either a judge or a lawyer. But one day, I saw Darcel Grimes on Channel 13, our ABC affiliate in Asheville. I saw her.
Hmm.
I saw when Oprah was starting. I saw Geraldo when I was out from school. And I saw Allison Payne from WGN. We had the superstation back then. Damn, I'm old. We had the superstation back then. And I came from Michael Jordan. That's when I really started getting into sports around like maybe 10, 8 or 10 or whatnot. I came for Mike. I came for Scotty. I came for Horace. I came for BJ, but stayed for Allison and stayed for Dan Roan.
Okay.
And I was reading the Jordan rules, and that's what triggered me getting into wanting to get into the media space more. And
Okay.
I wanted to mix sports into that when I was in high school. The first athlete I've interviewed was Brad Daugherty.
Okay. I remember him.
He just retired, and I was like maybe a junior, something like that. But he retired, and in Asheville, they retired his jersey at the cultural center, and I was there asking questions like I was a vet.
Okay. All right.
And
Yeah.
that's what popped off for me. And I went to North Carolina A&T State University and majored in journalism, and I was the sports editor there for my
Mhm.
campus newspaper.
Okay.
That's what got it popping for me.
Okay. All right. All right. So, kind of at a younger age, you already knew what time it was and what you wanted to be, and kind of, honed in and focused on those different things.
Yeah.
So, of course, we want to find out more about what all you've written and things like that. We're going to find that out. But first, of course, we're going to take a quick commercial break on This Woman Works. We'll be right back.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off of these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get this the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works. Of course, the sponsor of the show, or one sponsor of the show, is EBO Beard Butter. Now, I will say, of course, I know that women don't necessarily need beard butter, but of course, they do know people that know that they would need beard butter, like maybe their uncle, their cousin, their husband, their boyfriend, somebody's gonna need it. So hey, that 10% off with the code MPAFC10 will definitely help them. But getting back to the show, like I mentioned before the break, of course we want to get into more of your writing. Kind of, when did you kind of first? What was your first kind of big foray into writing? Of course, you mentioned Brad Daugherty, but what was kind of like your big foray into it? Kind of like around North Carolina A&T, or was it a little bit further past that?
A lot further past that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
A lot. I mean, I did my thing in college, but it was a good start, but it was further from that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like maybe the last Olympics. I was writing with Basketball News at the time, and I was going to do a feature on JaVale McGee and his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting into the Team USA scrums. I got to ask KD a question. Lloyd Pierce, and all of these USA guys, and
Mm-hmm.
me being there as a freelancer among the rest of beat writers, and being right there in that same room, that let me know right there that I am on the right track. And I could get in there and be just as good as them or even better. And that helped me keep going and
Mm-hmm.
going. But rewinding that and how I got started now, I say now because for a while after college, I wasn't even thinking about sports media like that. I was thinking like the way to go was general assignment reporting, and editors and execs like to downplay sports about them being the toy box of the newsroom. But what they don't know is that sports is actually the great additive and the spice of the newsroom. Because if you mix a sports element, because people gravitate towards sports, to any other story that they have, socio-political stuff, economic stuff, sports make it that much better, or that much of a discussion. But I thought that general assignment was the way, but it was my mom that suggested one day, like, why don't you go back to sports writing? And I'm like, toy box of the newsroom, blah, blah, blah. But she was right. Now I don't want to do anything else for sports writing. I mean, if that's the toy box in the newsroom, I'm playing and I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? Because sports, like I said, it is just it's just a great additive. Like I said, any story that you could think of, you put a sports angle to it and it's that much better. So I am where I'm supposed to be in that regard.
Okay. All right. So
I started getting back into the mix through SB Nation and writing about the Warriors. And then one opportunity came, developed in another. And I got all the way up to the San Jose Mercury News, competing for a beat writer position for the Warriors. And that was 2 seasons ago.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I believe I remember that. And for those that aren't aware, can you tell everyone where all you have written?
I've been everywhere. SB Nation, Golden State of Mind. SB Nation, Cat Crave. And not Cat. No, Cat Scratch Reader. That's the Panthers. I did a couple of articles for Bleacher Report. The basketball writers for a time. B-Ball Index. Where else?
Anscape.
Basketball News. Carolina Blitz right now, and the Sporting News.
Okay. So as you can see, everyone listening, she has been everywhere. Jannelle has been some of everywhere writing and is written on some of everything as well. So as far as just your, just in general, everyone has their own process in terms of writing. So what is kind of your way you get comfortable to kind of let the words flow?
I figured out right now it's with my leads, and I could be doing nothing and come up with something, and I use it for later on. I can write it down on my phone and use it for later on. But I just come up with stuff. I'm just constantly thinking about what I could come up with, thinking of story ideas, because I have to, since I'm freelance, and then it's a grind that I am running through every day. So I'm always constantly thinking about writing.
Yep. You have a nice notepad, probably full of ideas, probably.
Yeah, in my brain, and sometimes I write it down on my phone, and just in case I forget it. Here's a good example. I was in the gym one day a few months ago, and I was working out, and I heard Guns N' Roses' "Sweet Child of Mine" over the sound system. And then I thought of another Guns N' Roses song, "Welcome to the Jungle." And at that time, the Panthers was wrapping up, and they was looking for the 7th head coach in about 5 years. And I thought of that. "Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine." And I said, and then I put, whoever this new coach is, and we didn't know it was Dave Canales at the time. And I was writing, Tepper's going to shower you with all these roses and all this love for you during your introductory press conference, but don't forget your guns. Welcome to the jungle, sweet child of mine.
Mm-hmm. I remember that article. I actually read that. I read that article, so I remember that.
That's what I was just working out in the gym, and then I heard "Sweet Child of Mine," and I'm like, "Sure, I might could use that." And that song's been in my head for most of that day, and you know, it worked out.
Okay, yeah, it's amazing how the ideas can hit you at just some interesting moments in time. Definitely, it can hit you at the middle of the night. It can hit you while you're listening to music. It can hit you while you're just exercising. It can hit you at any point in time. But that's the life of being a writer or a creative as well. Yeah, definitely. Ideas can hit you at any time. We're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, I do have a few other questions for you before we hit the speed round at the end. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into those on This Woman Works.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works, of course, sponsored by ABO Beard Butter and sponsored by Garrett Logistics. Of course, before we went to the break, I kind of, talked about a few things we may talk about, of course. And one thing I wanted to get into was being a Black woman in the space that you're in. Now, I will say this, my shows that I've done, I do have another podcast called Touring the AFC South, and I made it a point to not only talk about sports on that show, but to also highlight Black women and bring Black women on, give them a space to actually just be their authentic selves, talking sports or doing whatever they would like to do. And, that was one of my missions with Touring the AFC South. But let's be realistic. It is hard, being a Black woman. I would say I can't say that. I just say off of what I've seen. It's hard, or what I've heard as well. So what are some of the challenges that you've come across in the media and sports media business over your time?
The challenge for me is getting these editors to see me, and to see I'm just as good as whoever they have on the staff, if not better. And I could write just about anybody under the table. And that I know what I'm talking about. I know how connected I am. And that was what really had me feeling some type of way about my experience with contending for the Mercury beat, because the exec at the time knew I was nice. He knew I had the pulse of the team, because he said to me, "Don't you know how bleeping on you are?" And then after my 2-week trial, they decided to go in another direction. They knew that I was her. And if I wasn't her, I wouldn't have been out there in the bay for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They still overlooked me. But, it was cool in a way, because I got a chance to make some extra money and to build up my clips with a freelance opportunity. But that still hurt. Just convincing these editors in charge to give me a shot. And that's still been a grind. And it's been thoughts of me wanting to pivot and do my own thing and not knowing what it looked like. But what I do know is that they have the same piece of paper that I do. And I'm not afraid to aspire to be the boss because they don't know as much as I do. They just have more experience and time in. And that don't mean anything if you're out of touch. And a lot of these people in the traditional media space, they've been there for 20, 30, 40 some odd years. And that's all they have. They're out of touch. If it's not that, it's the younger, younger reporters, that they give chances to, and they're on clickbait aggregation, and I ain't with that. People want original stuff. Anybody can aggregate. That's what's been messing up the game. If it's not aggregation, it's hot takes, and they seem to get farther than I do. Because
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And that makes me feel some type of way, but I keep going because I know that I'm nice. I know that I'm her and they do too. And I have to keep that attitude because if not, I would have given up. I'm in too deep to give up now. I don't want to give up, and I'm not, because I love what I do and I'm good at it. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how I keep myself going.
Okay. All right. Definitely you gotta definitely be your own hype man a lot in within any industry, especially facing the odds.
My own hype man, my own advocate, and it just is what it is, and I'm gonna keep going at it because I'm making strides, and I celebrate just about every win, and I do that not to be a braggart, but to keep myself motivated because of how hard it is. I've read a tweet, and that just really haunts me. It was about like maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago, and I think it was from Howard University, where it said that Black women makes up 1.1% of the sports media industry, and that includes the women on TV.
Wow. That's a low number. That's a very low number. I mean, good gracious.
I knew it was low, but I didn't know it was that low.
Right, me either. Yeah.
And I'm like, when you think about it, and I haven't really experienced this, and I thank God that I haven't experienced this about competition amongst this group, because we can't afford to be sniping at each other. I haven't had that happen, and I hope that I don't. But now more than ever, we need to support one another. I'm talking about Black women in the space, because at 1.8%, where are we at? You know what I mean?
Right.
We can't afford to be sniping.
That's right. You're right. What would someone that's actually starting out, what would you say are some tips you may have for them in terms of maybe kind of honing their skills, or I guess becoming nice, as you would say, with the keys?
Yes. Starting out in this business, I would say read. Be as informed as you can. When you read when you read, your research will be better. You study, and you be in this mindset of never stop learning. You're not going to be an expert. Because everybody still have room to grow. I don't care how long you've been in the business. You're still learning. You're learning every day, or you're supposed to be. Learning about whatever sport you cover. I mean, my basketball acumen, I'm solid, but I really don't feel like I'm an expert. And I know that I'm not an expert, and I try to learn as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest flaw, and to be honest with you, is, I've been writing about the Warriors so long, I seem to have tunnel vision. But since they're out of the playoffs right now, it's giving me the opportunity to learn about the other teams and how they do things and how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
you have to be open-minded. You have to learn. You have to study. Whatever sport it is, you have to study, because the game is always evolving and changing, and you have to catch up and stay abreast. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
have. And as far as writing goes, I mean, whatever opportunity you have, and if you're starting out, the money, the money will come, but getting those reps in and knowing that to write is to rewrite,
Mm-hmm.
that'll help.
Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely writing. You definitely have to get the reps in. And I definitely I didn't go to school and get a journalism degree, but I definitely got my reps in writing, paid attention to different people, and kind of watched and learned and grew and read as well. So yeah, I mean, Jannelle, you're not lying. You're telling the 100% gospel truth on how to get better in the writing field. And what are I just want to say definitely was a pleasure talking to you and kind of asking a few different things and a few questions to try to get to know you more, also, and where you're from, and then also get to know your journey as well. And it's been an absolute pleasure hearing about your journey. But we're not done quite yet. We do have the speed round. That's 10 questions to kind of allow people to get to know you more. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
All right. Favorite athlete of all time?
Say Mike.
Okay. All right. One dinner. Who would you like to have to sit with and pick their brain?
Right now, I'd like to sit down with Steph. And I say this because I've been thinking about a story to write about him, maybe an interview ever since the season began. So right now, Steph.
Okay. All right. Favorite
Favorite sport?
sports
Right.
memory?
Oh, sports memory. Oh, for me, it's a personal one. I used to play, and um, my favorite sports memory was like me hitting what three 12 points straight in a minute in high school.
Okay. All right. Shooting that thing, weren't you? Shooting that thing. Okay. All right. What is your favorite song currently?
My favorite song currently,
Hmm.
that new Kendrick Lamar diss to Drake.
Oh goodness. It was a good one.
It's the
Who's your
it's the double entendres. It's the lyricism for me.
right? Right. It's nice. It's nice. So I'm guessing. Let's see. Favorite musician is Kendrick Lamar too, or am I just guessing?
Actually my favorite musician
Hmm.
is a tie between Babyface and Eric Benet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Eric Benet. Yeah, he redid Georgie Porgy. That was done by Toto back in the day, and he made it
Yeah.
his own song. So I definitely love that. Who would you play? Who would play you in a movie? Who would you pick to play you in a movie?
That's a tough one. Shoot. I guess Angela Bassett. I don't
Hey,
know.
there you go. Who's your Mount Rushmore of athletes? Who are the four you putting up there?
Oh, that's a tough one. Mike, of course. Mike,
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I know one you're probably putting up there that you just talked about.
yeah. Steph.
Mm-hmm. You got one more.
And for me, AI.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Who is your favorite basketball player of all time? We already said that one. That's Michael Jordan, right?
Hmm.
So, all right. Favorite Do you listen to podcasts? And if so, what's your favorite podcast you listen
I listen to podcasts more than I do music, man.
to?
I like Draymond's show. I like Point Forward. I Locked On, Golden Spaces.
Uh-huh.
Golden Spaces
Yes,
with Nat, Justin, and Karima.
Yep.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely a must listen to.
Okay.
And I had to shout out Quick Blitz whenever Van and Sheena gets on.
Oh yeah, that's always a fun listen.
Yeah, and what they got going for on the 704 shop is cool too.
hmm Yep, definitely. They're doing their thing. I would, if you had to ask me, it'd be between Bomani and Jamel Hill. I listen to Bomani and Jamel Hill. Like, I don't miss those shows at all. Neither one. I wish Jamel. I'm hoping the podcast comes back with Jamel because I used to listen to it every Monday. That was my Monday listening. Jamel and Bomani Jones. I ain't missed neither one of them shows. And now I got Dominic Foxworth in the rotation, so I listen to his on Monday too. So
Yeah. What I like to get into more is more money type podcasts like investments, because that's what I'm getting into now. I'm rebuilding my portfolio, and I'm always learning about the stock market, and just learning different things.
okay,
I would love to get into that.
okay. That's definitely something to get into and to learn about for sure. Also, last one, your favorite writer.
Sports writer, hands
Sports
down,
writer, any kind of writer.
Marcus Thompson. Marcus
Okay.
Thompson. That is, and he has been definitely a godsend to me.
Okay. Marcus Thompson. I don't think I've had the pleasure of meeting him. I did meet Benny Goodwill though. I have met Benny Goodwill. I met him a couple years ago in Las Vegas.
No, so. Yeah, but Marcus is my dude. Yeah, he is my fave. He is the best, the greatest sports writer in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, that is the speed round is up. And time is up on the show. I want to thank you, Jannelle, for coming on. If you can, tell everyone where they can find you on social media and also any of the new articles that you dropped as well.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Jannelle12. That is JANNELLE and 12. Mm-hmm. And on Instagram, I'm Writer Diva.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's about it. And as far as my articles go, I'm going to be writing a preview on the Wolves and Nuggets series.
Oh, yeah. That definitely is going to be a series to watch right there. I mean, wow, you've got, 14 feet of big man versus Jokic. That'll be interesting to watch. For sure. Now, I want to, of course, thank everyone for tuning in. This one was work. You can find me. I'm the host, Mike Patton, on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton82. That's MikePatton 82. Of course, This Woman Works. You can find it on Spotify and YouTube as well right now. Of course, we're working on getting it everywhere else. We're growing this thing. I want to thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of This Woman Works. We are out. See ya.